Alright guys, so today, I apologize, first off, I'm not feeling very well. Allergies are flaring up where it's been warm lately. But today I'm going to show y'all how I clean up my model trucks. As you can see, this is a stock Ertl 2nd Gen. Nothing wrong with it. Don't believe there's hardly any scratches on it at all. I believe most everything that we see here is just dirt that's been on it. But this right here is some yellow paint right here at my thumbnail. But I'm going to show y'all the best way that I find to clean them. And of course, here's what I use. So once you start cleaning, this is the first time I've thought of it, but it makes a lot of sense, is to actually wear gloves when you're cleaning it to keep from smudging it with your fingers. So I advise to have gloves, a microfiber that's fairly clean. You can see where I've cleaned previous trucks with it. A Q-tip and a toothpick. And if you really want to, it doesn't hurt to have like a T-pin or like a needle or something of that sort. And of course, your compound or wax or whatever of choice. I've always heard Meguiar's is really good. For some reason, I feel like this is done better than a few other products that I've used because I believe this is actually made to cut a little bit. So I personally feel like it cuts into the dirt and stuff a little better, especially if it's been on the truck for a long time. So without further ado, I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a close-up of this truck. And you can see there's some spots that aren't perfect. And you would think the truck looks fairly clean, but to the eye, a lot of this up here is actually dirt. Or it looks like, almost like tape has been up here and they pulled it off and it left the sticky stuff on here. It doesn't feel like that, but that's what it looks like a lot. And you can see there's some spots right here. The back was fairly clean already. But there's a few imperfections here and there. Now, when I was talking about for this spot right here, I probably need to have a T-pin just because it's a little more harsh on the paint, so you have to be careful with them. But the toothpick seems to be taking care of it for the most part. Of course, this is only in this instance that it got some on it from another truck when they were shipping together, I assume. But the toothpick does have its purpose. And I'll explain everything before I start. So, of course, you have your compound and your microfiber for a lot of the basic cleaning on the sides, top, and again, I don't really worry about the bottom most of the time because it really doesn't see dirt, because most of the time the truck's going to be sitting like that, so you're not going to get dirt or dust up under it most of the time. But the Q-tip here, I use it to get into smaller areas, maybe like around the windows. Down in this is going to want to collect compound here. It's going to want to collect down here and in these parts. And a lot of the times if you're cleaning a green light truck and the bed comes off, it'll get caught right here in this bed where they separate from the cab occasionally. Just any small little crevices. That's what I use this to clean. And then the purpose of the toothpick is once you're done cleaning, you may still have some compound that was left on the truck in those hard to reach places. And then you can just take the toothpick and just scratch it out of there. That's basically the only reason for the toothpick. And occasionally if you have some like, excuse me, paint spots or whatnot that, like that yellow piece of paint that got stuck on the truck, you can use the toothpick for an area like that, and it does help. So, yeah. Sorry about that. I had to go get me a bit of water here. Actually, not only for my voice, but I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with it after I drink most of it. And you can see I got a little left in here. Another thing you can do with the Q-tip is before you start cleaning, you can still see that there's some dust in the windows. You can see where I've touched it, but around the door, it's still there. It does not hurt to take one end of the Q-tip and dip it in the water and then brush all this out in your windows first. Again, just get it damp. You don't have to get it completely soaking wet, because I just don't really want water to fall down in there and then be in there. I don't think it makes much of a difference, but still. And I'd take the dry end and dry most all of it off. I'm just applying light pressure because it is just dust on it at the moment. It's not like the end of the world. And if your truck is just dusty, you could probably apply this principle to the whole truck to clean it up. But I personally like to take it a step further. Another thing that I really don't advise doing is I don't advise using this compound inside of the beds, because it's super hard to get out because you need to be able to wipe it all off. And it's hard to get in these corners with a microfiber, or even with this sometimes. So I'm just going to use this, the Q-tip with it being wet with just water, and I'm going to make my rounds inside of the bed. Again, applying light to medium pressure inside the bed. Make sure you get in between all these little ribs inside. And you can see the bed was actually fairly clean. So you can see that little green, don't know if you can see it. I think it fell down. You can see it now. Like, I thought this was paint at first, but it was just something on there, and it actually comes right out. And it's there on the end of the Q-tip somewhere right there. So once you get that done, you can dry it off if you please. So there's that. Now, the rest of the water, don't think we're really going to need it, but I'm going to need it for my throat. So thumbs up. All right, now here's what I'm going to do. You don't have to. Again, I'm straight up with y'all. I just thought about it to keep from getting your fingerprints back on the truck after you work on it, especially if you have one that you've like custom painted yourself and whatnot. So that makes a big deal compared to stock paint on most of these trucks. Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to take your compound and you're going to want to shake it up real well, basically just like you're cleaning a real vehicle to an extent. You know, make sure it's shook up, mixed up real well, and occasionally you'll get some compound that's dried up here in the cap, and it'll come out. For my case, it comes out quite solid almost, and it's not so much of a liquid. So I've got my trash can is like right here beside my cabinet, so I'm just going to squirt a little out just to make sure it's a good liquid and it's not solid or anything. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to find a nice clean spot on my microfiber. This corner looks fairly clean. These little things are just pieces of lint, probably from my gloves, so they're not going to hurt the truck any. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to put out a small bit on the microfiber. That's plenty. That is plenty for what we're doing. So there's still some on the end of this, and normally I wipe it off with my finger. It's on the end of the cap. I'll just wipe it off with the microfiber. So, and you can see I spilled a little on the cabinet here. Don't worry about that. So, normally what I do, you have a lot here, I normally just fold it over and rub it into the rag pretty good. So it's, you know, fairly splotched out here. Ugh. And I'll take my finger and I'll wrap the towel around my finger and grab it with these other two and put the rest in my palm. That way it's off the truck and it won't be rubbing against it. And yes, this is probably a lot more technical than it really needs to be, because I mean, it's quite a simple process. You just wipe it on, rub it in, rub it off. But I'm trying to give you guys a good rundown of what's happening. So most of the time I will dab it on to make sure to get plenty on there, but it does not hurt to go ahead and just start rubbing. And you can see it's leaving compound kind of in the spots. But we're just gonna rub it in thoroughly. Medium pressure with this. I do advise being very careful if you've painted the model yourself and you've like got clear coat on it or whatnot, or you use Sharpie to detail some things and you didn't clear coat it, because this will take off the Sharpie. So yeah, but I'm applying medium, occasionally heavy pressure, depending on how bad the spots are. And this truck was pretty bad, so you can see I already need some more compound on my rag here. So I'm just gonna put a little dab on there. And I'm gonna take this dab and I'm just gonna dab it on the truck in certain areas. Definitely focus mainly on the hood and the cab, because that is what's gonna collect the most dust, especially if it's a shelf piece or whatnot. So, yeah. Now we're just gonna continue the process and just rub it all in. Again, medium to pretty firm pressure. I don't think I've ever scratched a truck doing this. The clear coat on a stock truck, or even on a truck that I've clear coated myself when I've done a custom. But still be careful, be mindful of what you're doing. If you have chrome or a chrome paint that you use, definitely be careful with this, because I know you really can't clear coat over those, because it will make them dull and occasionally they'll run. So after you feel like you've done as much as you can do with the rag, you can see it's taking some of this blue paint off. And I assume these trucks have some clear on them, clear coat. But you can see the Meguiar stuff's pretty heavy stuff. You may even want to go down. I believe they have a finishing compound. I think it was the 1, this is 2, and I think they have a 3 for some heavy stuff. But you may even want to bump it down to a finishing compound for stuff like this. But once you have done that, we're going to flip over here to a dry, clean area of the microfiber, and you're going to rub all of the compound off, very similar to how you rubbed it on. So just going to rub it as well as I can. Try to get all the compound out if you can. It does help. Again, you can see, you may not be able to see it real well. It has taken a little more blue off, so you do have to mind that. But just always, again, you just go over it. The final time you go over it, if you want to, take your toothpick and pick out anywhere that has some compound left in it, if you can get it. If you can't, you probably need to find something smaller than a toothpick if you can find it. For example, a needle or a T-pin's a little bit smaller at the ends, but a toothpick is more forgiving whenever it comes to paint. So pick your poison. But again, Try to get everything off of it as best as you can, and then just give it a nice final wipe down. Making sure there's no smudges, nothing like that if you can help from it. Try to go up and down with the body lines here, or not body lines, but the door jambs and whatnot, to make sure you've got all the compound out of those. And just give it a nice rundown, and after that, you're done. And I'll show you guys a close-up of it. You can see that's much better than what it was. All these little specks are just dust, like off of my gloves or off of the rag. You can see it's much cleaner than what it was. There's a small chip right there at the door, but I think that's about the only major imperfection on this truck. As you can see, it's very clean now. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. It's nothing major, but it's one of those things that makes a little bit of difference, but whenever you're trying to present a product to somebody, you want it to be the best of your ability to present to them. So this is one of those little extra things that I like to consider that put my product above most other people's in the customs industry whenever it comes to the trucks. I know there's tons of people that do cars and they do them much better than I do trucks, but there's very limited people that make trucks and only trucks. So this is one of those things that I feel like really takes my level of builds to the next point compared to other people. So again, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. All of my social medias is found in my bio to YouTube. Check me out on Instagram at Tractors Are Awesome. That's where you're going to find the most stuff on there. Occasionally, I will post sneak peeks on Snapchat before they make it to Instagram, and you get a more look into my personal life whenever it comes to that. And I believe that is about it. Somebody did mention about me doing a giveaway for YouTube only, and I am considering it. So it's not going to be something that's super expensive, but I am totally open to ideas. So if you want to drop a comment down in the description, or not in the description, but down in the comments, and let me know what you think I should give away on my YouTube, drop it. And you know, if you win, I'll shout you out in the video where I explain it if I do decide to do it. But thank you all for watching. Again, social medias are in the description. Like, subscribe, and God bless. Thank y'all.